Welcome again to another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I'm your host, founder, executive director of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode and over 300 episodes. Whether you've been with us from the beginning, the first episode, or you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. Thank you. If you can give us a big thumbs up, like, share, follow, subscribe, all those free things, those would be very helpful to us to be able to share not just my message and our organization, but our guest message. And we do have this huge goal of wanting to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And it's a huge goal, but we want to help. And we thank you for joining us. We are absolutely thrilled to have the guest with us today that we do. She's in town for another engagement, and we got lucky and got a little window of time to speak with her, and so we are just so thankful. Our guest is Oksana Baiul. So thank you for joining us.
Hello, Justin. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing much better now. We're all set. So for those that don't know, Oksana and obviously, you probably are going to start Googling her, but I wanted to share a little bit of information about her background. And that is, she not only was, but she still is a figure skater. You teach?
I skate for myself, but I
Mm-hmm.
do teach, and sometimes like tomorrow I'm gonna go to an ice skating rink here in
Oh,
Akron. So, and we're very excited about it.
oh my gosh.
The more people I meet, the better it is for myself. Because when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
young generation would take photos with me, and 30 years later they would be sending them to me. And it's fascinating for me to see those photos, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be taking photos at the ice rink here in Ohio, and it's just beautiful.
It's so fascinating. You're a gold medalist from the 1994 Winter Olympics in Lillehammer, Norway. Uh, the gold medal is just incredible to even just think about what that would take. So I guess the first thing I want to ask is your final program was a little over 4 minutes, but the preparation, you didn't just show up and skate that day for that performance. That there was a lot of work that went into it. And can you just talk about just a little bit of like what type of dedication you had to have?
I grew up in Soviet. It's CCCP used to be, and then in 1991, country fell apart, and the area where I was growing up became Ukraine. And my mother buried in Ukraine, and everybody knows right now it's, you know, in turmoils with Russia, which my personal feeling towards it's we can't wait for peace to come back. And this has been made for me in 2022 when I used to live in Las Vegas, and seamstress actually from my hometown whose daughters live in Las Vegas. Um, they made this for me, and this became my flag.
It's beautiful.
So I grew up in a communist country, basically, and I loved what I did since the age of 4. I was going to the ice rink, and I would spend all day at the rink.
Oh.
And when normal kids were going to school, what I did was I would go to a cinema, and I would watch in the late 80s, living back in Ukraine, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Oh yeah.
And Terminator just came out. My goodness gracious, when I won the gold medal, I did my first show in Sun Valley, Idaho. And here it is. real, Arnold.
Yeah, in person, yeah.
He comes towards me with his cigar, and, and I remember I couldn't even skate, couldn't breathe, and he speaks in real life like a real person, like, I'll be back. Oh my goodness. Well, the day of the Olympics was fascinating because I was injured and nobody knew if I could make it or not because I collided with the German ice skater.
Ooh.
And we both fell down, but I fell down from the push, and I broke one vertebrae in my back, and she kind of like pushed me away, so her skate went into my leg, and basically I had to get 3 stitches. So nobody knew if I can do it or not, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the day of the event. When I crossed myself and I was being announced, I went to the middle of the ring, and I remember that like yesterday. I put my hands and I turned my head, and I'm like, what is those 2 girls, volunteers, doing on the ice? The little girls.
Yeah.
Basically, I was skating right after Nancy Kerrigan,
Yeah.
and those 2 girls, they've been picking up the flowers after Nancy, because Nancy did her best program ever. And it was so many people who were throwing on the ice flowers. So basically, those 2 little girls, when I was in the middle of the ice, they were literally going to the area where I do my first triple jump to pick up the leaves from the ice. And I just said, God, just let me finish this, please. So basically, when I started my long program, I went to the area where those 2 girls picked up the leaves, and I did perfect first jump. It was big and high, and I felt like confident, and I'm going through it. In the middle of the program, I remember I was start hearing, like towards almost the end of the program, from coaches, Victor, Galina, and Valentin, you need to do a combination jump. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I forgot it. So I reorganized my whole program towards almost the end. And basically, a lot of people, they can see this. I literally did 2 crossovers. I did the combination jump, and I threw my hands up in the air, and I looked it up, and I just said to him, thank you so much. And I was started crying. And I was so glad I was able to push it through being injured. And I was so glad I was able to not give up. And I was so glad, literally, this was over for me. And because Olympic Games is a competition where a lot of people probably would never understand how much pressure is on you, and to just get through it and just to be there and perform and do your best was everything.
How was so your emotions definitely stood out as I was going through your performances, and I'm an emotional person too, and I was being a guy, there were taught sometimes as we're growing up, like, keep your emotions in, don't share them, just get through it. And so to see your emotions that you wore, plus the cross, on top of the program that you did, those 2 things, that the emotions and the cross, like the faith that is important to you, and was enough that you wore it and wear it regardless of where you're at, even if you're in front of millions of people.
I grew up with a grandmother, and every Sunday she would wake me up, and we would go first to a Orthodox church,
Okay.
and then we would go to a farmer's market. And that's pretty much was our Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we would buy food for the next week, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much how I grew up. I grew up in church with my grandma. And my grandma was a Romanian Jew,
Okay.
but unfortunately, when you're living in a communist country, you are not allowed to. We weren't allowed to have higher power, different religions.
Okay.
We were only able to have one back then, and it was Orthodox.
Wow. Yeah, it's incredible, and uh, just with the political climate, just everywhere, everybody gets judged on what they wear and that, and so myself being Christian and that, it really stood out. I was like, oh my God, like way back then, I was 13. I was born in 1981. It really just it struck me, and I remember watching your performance. I didn't really know you as I know you now, and the research I did. But our family, it was kind of like a tradition when the Olympics are on, and of all the different events, figure skating was like the one where even my dad like had got into it, and we would watch it as a family. And like you said, having that pressure of that modifying your program kind of as is, and getting the marks that you got
Mm-hmm.
to get you to gold after Nancy skated her best program. Your best program was enough to make that gold.
I went to the middle of the rink. I did my best, and the decision wasn't mine. It
Yes.
was.
Yeah. How did it feel when the gold medal got put around your neck in the?
The interesting part about kiss and cry area, after you sit there, uh, you are a contender to be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and back then everyone knew I would be somewhere there. So basically, as soon as you leave that area, the doping person gets introduced to you,
Okay.
you know. So you have to go through doping control.
All right.
So they took me to, I guess, the area where we were doing doping. And then what was happening when two other skaters were finishing up, my best friend Surya Bonali and Katerina Witt, right afterwards, I was first. So basically, International Olympic Skating IOC came up to our team leader, and they said we cannot find a national anthem. So they basically, it was so much going on behind the scenes at that time when people delivering wrong information to Nancy, and I was in the men's dressing room because we chose to be there because it was isolated space.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there, and I remember Victor and Katya and a lot of skaters, they uh, were sitting with me, and I remember they gave me this chocolate bar, my favorite chocolate bar, and I was just eating it, and I was just being told what to do. But then I got the knock on the door, and they said, Miss Baiul, we are ready for you.
Oh.
I had no idea what was going on
Yeah.
at that time. And when they opened the door for me and I was coming out of the dressing room, I said to myself, what is going on? Because I literally become celebrity in that time, in that moment. And I couldn't, like, it was so many people all of a sudden, like, can we take a photo with you? Can you sign this for us? And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I've never lived this life before. So they had to clear the entrance for me to go from the dressing room to the podium to get the gold medal.
Yeah.
So um, I, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
how am I handling this now?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. And I should have said at the beginning, congratulations, but congratulations.
I asked myself literally. I remember all of it like it's yesterday. I said, "What is that? Is that comes with the gold medal?
Yeah.
Like, am I supposed to now sign autographs?
Right.
Like, who am I?"
Yeah. There's not a how-to. Oh wow, that's so amazing, and
And
I should have said it at the beginning, but congratulations, obviously, for
thank you so much.
for the
And
work that
then
you
yeah,
did.
and then I got the gold medal, and life has changed forever.
Yeah, and so I like to switch gears into uh, a little bit of mental health and
Mhm.
substance abuse. Myself, I
Mhm.
abused alcohol for many years. I overdosed on cold and cough medicine, took 32 pills, and luckily survived that. And it wasn't until I was 37 that I went and got the help that I needed, because I thought again that I could handle it. I can
Mhm.
Google it. I don't need help. I don't need anybody to help me. Uh, and, and so a little bit about your story, if you can share,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
your journey and recovery, and then we can close on a final message
Mhm.
to those that are watching and listening that may be in a position that you were in,
Mhm.
and give maybe some inspiration, which I'm sure you'll do.
Well, my father was never a present in my family, so he left when I did not even remember him.
Mm.
And all I heard from the other side of the family that he did have an addiction problem and he was an alcoholic. Um, Me personally, I tried alcohol for the first time. I was obviously was underage, and I wasn't drinking because some people they go to the clubs, night bars, and they drink for fun and
Mm.
they enjoy it. Me personally, I I grew up. My life had a lot of trauma, and when on top of that trauma, more stuff came on. I was buckling under the pressure, and I couldn't understand. Basically, I was lost. I was lost with life, I was lost with feelings, I was lost with who I was, I was lost with basically what's next for me, and I was just drinking because it was basically covering up the pain of poor me, because sometimes people look at you and they say, woo, it must be nice to be her. But every gold medal does have two sides,
Mm. Yeah.
and there is a side that people do get to see on TV, and there is a side which people don't. And unfortunately, the side that people didn't see it is the side where I was struggling with learning how to basically survive. And for anyone who understands this disease, everyone knows this disease is deadly. And basically, you and I are miracles
We are.
because we're able to see it and talk about it. And I found out from organizers of the event here, Bill and Bob is actually from Akron,
Okay.
and I'm going right afterwards to um, to their where they're buried.
Yeah.
And for me, recovery basically is something we never graduate from, you know, from this.
Right.
It's a struggle every day. But I highly recommend for people to get help because we cannot do it ourselves.
That's right.
We need somebody who you can talk to, and we need someone who you can share your struggle with.
That's right.
And me being who I am, um, I'm not ashamed at the age of 47 to say I am an Olympic gold medalist, Oksana Baiul, and I also have struggled with alcoholism. And, you know, people can judge, but it's basically their opinion of you.
That's right.
It's not how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that if you can live one day at a time and not touch the drink and survive and be somebody who is able to even speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when disease kicking you in, you self-isolate yourself,
That's right.
and you go into a very dark place in your life where you can't you can't just come out and stop and just say, "Whew, thank you, God, for what I have." You learn to appreciate life. You learn to appreciate things. And you learn to be who you are, to feel comfortable in your
In your skin,
skates.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So, by being a part of this journey, I am here to talk about it, how, you know, this disease literally sometimes kicks you in the butt.
Yeah.
And some people, when they slip up, they go out and they never come back.
Never come back.
It's unfortunate. It's
Very.
unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. And, I'm glad we were able to speak about it.
I am too, and thank you for
And
being so transparent because it is it's easy to bottle up our emotions and not talk about it. But once I started talking about it and sharing, I started to feel a little bit of peace of mind, just to knowing that I was letting those emotions out and finding healthy ways and coping mechanisms, and instead of going to drink, finding other things of like just being uh, comfortable in your own skin and being being okay with where we're at. We're all imperfect.
life is a beautiful, beautiful gift. And I am not a perfect human. People might think I am just because I have a gold medal,
Mm-hmm.
but I have learned to forgive myself for certain things. And I have learned to love myself for who I am,
Mm-hmm.
for all imperfections. I mean, you can't really tell, but we're sitting so far away.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people, they do judge you and they say a lot of things about you, but you just have to be okay with that, and you just have to love yourself enough to say, you know what, it's okay. It's your opinion.
Yes.
That is not my opinion. And I respect your opinion, but I don't think the way how you do. And that's how I cope with my life right now.
Excellent. Well, we're at the end of our time together. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, being so transparent, sharing everything
Yeah.
from Olympic gold
Yeah.
to recovery,
Yeah.
and just talking about being a
Yeah.
human, which we all are.
Oh, yeah. And I'm wearing a jacket which is giving to us, to skaters from the 90s,
Uh-huh.
old timers.
Yeah.
I like to call myself an old timer now. I'm not a newcomer.
Mm.
It's actually 1994. It's a Champions and Ice Tour. So this is really dear, and I love this jacket, and I'm wearing it now. And I just wanted to say to people, live your lives. Life is too short. Be who you are and fight for what you believe in.
Absolutely. Oksana Baiul, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're so
Thank you.
gracious for your time.
Thank you.
And we want to
Thank you,
thank our, absolutely, we also want to thank our viewers, our listeners, wherever you're at. We just passed a milestone of reaching 80 countries, 800 cities, not just here in Northeast Ohio, but across the world. And we can't do that without you. So again, if you can give us a thumbs up, like, share, follow, all those great things. And Oksana is she's a legend as a gold medalist, but she's also a legend as a human being, of being able to talk about the hard topics that we deal with that sometimes we want to keep inside. And so I echo Oksana by saying, if you need help, or if you know somebody that needs help, if you're in crisis or know somebody that is, there's now that 988 hotline. You can text it, you can call it, you can go to 988hotline.com, and you can chat on the keyboard, on your phone, and you're not alone. Trust Oksana and trust myself. We're not alone. We got through a lot of hard times, but as we know, life's not easy. And so take it, again, as Oksana said, take it one moment, 1 minute, one day at a time, and learn to be comfortable in your skin. So,
and don't be ashamed of asking for help, because help is, people are wonderful. And if you go and ask for help, and if you will do what it takes to stay sober, it's a beautiful life.
absolutely. So we'll see you next time on the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. Again, I'm your host, founder, executive director of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes, and we just concluded an awesome interview with 1994 gold medalist, human being, recovery individual, transparent. Learn to love herself like I've learned to love myself, letting people share their opinions, but not always having to take those to heart, to believe who we are and through our own thoughts and our own mind. And again, we're grateful for our viewers, our listeners, and I love the flag.
I will sign it for you.
I was hoping
we're
you
approaching
would, yes.
2026 Olympics.
I know, it's so soon.
And we will be watching.
Absolutely.
And there is a lot of good skaters will be skating there.
Oh, I can't wait. So
yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we'll see you next time on the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. Please be a voice for you or somebody else in need.